Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all on the panel for being here today. I represent Eastern Kansas, and I've seen firsthand how strong trade agreements open international markets to Kansas beef, pork, Kansas wheat and cereal grains, as well as plains and other products manufactured in Kansas. I also know that the best way for Congress to ensure that we can get strong agreements that include congressional priorities is to pass legislation like the Bipartisan Congressional Trade Priorities Act that Chairman Camp has introduced along with our chairman and Chairman Sessions. And it's my hope that we can get that important legislation through the House and the Senate this summer. Mr. McCann, as president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, you are well aware that the World Organization for Animal Health places U.S. beef at its lowest possible risk category. Unfortunately, some countries, including some of those who are currently participating in the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations, continue to either ban or limit U.S. beef exports. So, Mr. McCann, could you please discuss the markets that are still closed to U.S. beef and pork and the impact this has on U.S. producers? I'd also like you to discuss the challenges that the mandatory country of origin labeling or COOL standards created by the USDA place on our negotiators when they try to get other countries to end non-tariff-based barriers. I specifically mentioned COOL because over the past couple of years I've heard from many Kansas producers that these standards are placing an unworkable burden on their operations. In addition, a study done back in November of 2012 by professors Glenn Tosner, Ted Schroeder, Michael Taylor from Kansas State University, and Jason Lusk of Oklahoma State University found that U.S. consumers are not willing to pay a premium for labels that distinguish between livestock born in Canada but raised in Montana and those born and raised anywhere else in the U.S. So it appears that these standards may be more trouble than they're worth. Could you comment?
Yes, ma'am. I will answer your concerns about the BSE status first. We are a negligible risk status country now, which is the lowest status you can be for BSE. And there are other countries who are exporting beef that don't have as low a status for BSE than we do, that are exporting beef to China. China we view as a really huge future market for us. We were locked out of China in 2003 with the BSE cow from Canada, and we have not been able to get access back into China. So we certainly view that as something that we need, our administration, I think, needs to work hard on, and our industry views that as a very important market, and we don't see any reason why we should be kept out at this point. As to the mandatory country of origin labeling, it has, in our opinion, in the beef industry, it has not really benefited anyone. Referring to the study that you referred to, done at Kansas State and other universities, our domestic consumers really don't seem to really care or really pay a lot of attention to that origin label. So it is certainly not shown any economic benefit to any of our producers in the United States, although it has been a really tough rule to comply with, and we handle Mexican steers on our family's operation, and so every year when we market them, we're faced with anywhere from a $35 to $50 a head discount for no apparent reason. And when those cattle come into this country, they're lightweight calves usually, and it's an added value type of a program. We add value at the ranch level. The feedlot operators add value. The packers add value. By the time those animals are processed and ready for distribution in the retail markets, the majority of the value of that animal is value that has been put on them here in this country. So another reason why we don't see any real benefit to the mandatory country of origin labeling rule right now. And it has caused some serious disruption on the borders, south and north There are some processing facilities that have recently gone out of business that depend on a lot of that border trade, and because of mandatory cool, have been hurt and had to go out of business. So we have limited infrastructure now across the country for processing cattle. We want to protect that infrastructure as much as we can and to keep a good, robust competition in our industry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Sure. Thank the gentlelady.